friends, we are back here again. It is lunchtime true crime. You know you love lunchtime true crime. You know what you have to do first, though. Grab your fork, grab a napkin, and some earbuds, because Lord only knows what's going to come out of my mouth. Like this video and subscribe to the channel. But look, episode 3 of Murdaugh, A Southern Scandal on Netflix features widely Cousin Eddie. But look, while we talking about Cousin Eddie, we need to give a shout out to all the powerful women down there in the low country. And so I am wearing my Superwoman t-shirt today. Yes, she is black. She got an afro. Shout out to the powerful women out there, because if at the end of the day, it is the underserved communities who have brought down Alex Murdaugh. I'm talking about the poor people that he thought he could put one over on. I'm talking about all those powerful women who stood up at his court case and was like, let me tell you something. I'm looking at you, Miss Jeannie Secondaire. Blanca, who stood up. Miss Shelley, who stood up, even though she was afraid. And also, Cousin Eddie was not in the trial. But Cousin Eddie knows things. And episode 3 of Murdaugh, A Southern Scandal starts off with the voice of Cousin Eddie. Listen, on Labor Day 2020, we hear that Alex Murdaugh has been shot on the side of the road. And I was like, oh my goodness. Listen, I remember exactly where I was. I was in Target, had my earbuds on. I was pushing my little cart, and I was like, wait, what? Alex Murdaugh, are the killers back? What is happening? Is there something more going on? And it turns out, yes, seems that Cousin Eddie shot Alex Murdaugh on the side of the road. Now, is Cousin Eddie a reliable narrator? Absolutely not. Cousin Eddie, in my humble opinion, looks like a narcotics enthusiast. Or maybe he's just old and has done manual labor his whole life out in the sun, and so his skin is worn out or whatever. Cousin Eddie is only 61. Now, because I'm 53, 61 don't seem that old, but I look at my 53 versus his 61, and I'm like, Cousin Eddie, boo, you might want to try some moisturizer and some sunscreen. You know I'm shallow like that. But okay, he also has some health challenges. So maybe his lifestyle has aged him. But Cousin Eddie, boo-boo, I'm going to need you to tell us every single thing. This is Cousin Eddie's story. Cousin Eddie, who was the Murdaugh cleanup man. Everybody was like, anytime the Murdaughs needed any little errands run or any little whatever, Cousin Eddie, who is Alex's cousin, like third cousin, 12 times removed, whatever. He's some sort of distant cousin, but he's known them for a long time, although he did not grow up with them. But he was running errands for Alex's daddy, granddaddy, whatever. Now he's running errands for Alex. Okay, seems reasonable-ish, although I'm looking at you with the side eye, Cousin Eddie. So, according to Cousin Eddie, Alex calls him and was like, hey, Eddie, can you meet me down at such and such location? And Eddie is like, okay, wait, he said meet me at the funeral home. Okay, that is very Ozark of you, meeting down at the funeral home. But okay, they go to the funeral home, and apparently Alex had a hat pulled way down low and the visor in the window. And Cousin Eddie was like, Alex, boo, what's going on? And he was just like, I got to keep a low profile because they watching me. And Cousin Eddie was like, who's watching you? He was like, SLED and the FBI and whoever else. And Cousin Eddie was like, why are they watching you? What's going on? And he was like, they think they can prove I killed Maggie and Paul. Really? Is that a quote? Is that a direct quote? Oh, I wish Cousin Eddie had been recording things on his iPhone. But, you know, we do not know how reliable a narrator Cousin Eddie is. Because Cousin Eddie, boo-boo, you shady as anything, but I'm here for everything you have to say. According to him, Alex said they can prove that I killed Maggie and Paul. Can they now? Okay. And so he said, Eddie says, well, what happened? And he was like, man, it just got all effed up. What exactly got all effed up? What did you think was going to happen? Did you think you was just going to shoot your son and he was going to fall over and you was going to shoot your wife and that's it? I don't. So, Alex, per Cousin Eddie, says, I need you to shoot me in my head so you can kill me and then Buster can get all the insurance money. And Cousin Eddie was like, yeah, nah, dude, that's not going to happen because, I'm not used to dealing with the police and stuff like that. AKA, I never been caught for nothing because, you know, he been doing some stuff. But I never been caught for nothing. And I'm not going to unalive you because, you know, that's bad karma. And me in prison, we don't get along. The food seems terrible. No, thank you. And so Alec was like, okay, so I'm just going to drive over here. Now, that's what Cousin Eddie said happened. This is what I personally think happened. I think Alec rolled up and was like, dude, they looking out after me. I need to fake a suicide. And Cousin Eddie was like, wait, what now? And he's like, yeah. I need you to pretend to shoot me in the head. And Cousin Eddie was like, okay, how much cash is in this for me? And Alex was like, okay, I give you $300, $350, $400, $5, and some drugs or whatever. And Cousin Eddie was like, okay, keep talking. I'm listening. This is my version of what happened. So he's like, I'm gonna drive over here. I'm gonna slash my tire, and then you just shoot up in the air, and I'm gonna fall out, and we gonna say I got shot in the head. And Cousin Eddie was like, but I don't actually have to shoot you. And Alex was like, no. You know, I'm not trying to hurt my pretty self, because you know he thinks he's pretty. And so Cousin Eddie was like, oh, okay, bet. Just right up here up the road, down here by the church. Okay, I'll see you over there. Okay, great. See you then. That's what I think happened. What Cousin Eddie said happened is Alex was like, oh, if you're not going to shoot me, I'll just have to shoot myself. So I'm going to drive over here up the road. And so Cousin Eddie followed him. Okay. And then pulled to the side of the road, and then Alec took Eddie's knife and slashed the tire so he could pretend like he had a flat tire with the run flats that were on his car. Okay. And then Eddie shot up in the air. Alex fell on the ground and bumped his little noggin and got a little boo-boo on his head. And Cousin Eddie was like, let me just make sure all this money is here. It's all, yep. You short of 20, but you can get me later. Okay. Have a good day. Bye. And then went on about his merry way. And so he was like, let's see, this was a good day. I pretended to shoot my cousin. I made us some very quick cash. And so I can go on with my life now. Okay, this is all going to be terrific. And then Alex shenanigan about, ooh, I was shot in the head. It was all terrible, blah, blah, blah. And so the Netflix documentarians was like, right. Okay, Eddie, we have more questions for you. Eddie was like, ask away. Because y'all check is going to clear, right? Because I saw, you know what? Can you just do an ACH transfer? Because you have the routing, you have the route. Okay. Yeah. Long as that money comes in, I'm going to have my lawyer check in while we having this little chitty chat. Because my money better come in. You know, he's like, B better run me my money or this ain't going to go down. And because everybody was trying to get Cousin Eddie, and you know, Cousin Eddie was cheaply bought, they probably gave him $4,000 and he thought he was rich. He was like, okay, cool. So he was like, okay, here's what else had happened. What other questions do you have? And they said, Eddie, were you a drug dealer? And he was like, absolutely not. Now, you notice when Cousin Eddie says no, he shakes his head no. He should probably give Alex some lessons. He said, if I'm a drug dealer, I'm the worst one in history because I only had one customer. That was Alex Murdaugh. Oh, Cousin Eddie, say more. Also, how soon are we signing you to a contract for your own reality show? Because you and your hillbilly shenanigans, I want to see all of it. This is very like Honey Boo Boo meets murder, crime, and corruption, and I am here for it. So, Eddie was like, look, one time, a long time ago, Alex asked me to run him an errand. Said, listen, I'm a big fancy lawyer. I don't have time to go over there to the other side of town. Can you take this envelope? And Cousin Eddie was like, sure, I'll take the envelope. Oh, and you gonna give me $200 to take the envelope? Great. So he's like, I took the envelope and I threw it on my seat and it fell out here, rattle like pills. And I was like, oh. I want to know how big the package was. Was it like a little package? Was it like a big giant box? Was it an Amazon-sized delivery box? How big we talking, Cousin Eddie? So Cousin Eddie dropped off the box to whatever law office. What law office is trafficking in pills? That's the other part of this. But I understand that the Murdaugh firm had like a couple different offices. So maybe it was just to the other office. Okay. So Cousin Eddie was like, took 90 minutes of my time and made $200. That's much more than I can make cutting grass. So I started running errands for him all the time. He was like, can you cash this check? Can you cash that check? And Cousin Eddie was like, remember me? I'm not a criminal. I don't want to be doing the cashing of the checks and the money laundering. And Alex was like, no, I'm writing them on my account and I'm cashing them from my account. This is not money laundering. And Eddie was like, okay, because I'm not going to check any of this. I'm going to take your word for it and you're a lawyer. So I'm going to keep doing it. And so he cashed checks all the time. And he was like, after a while, I was like, something about this not right. I would like to get out of it. But then Alex starts saying, oh, does your daughter, who's a nurse or whatever, still drive through that bad neighborhood? That's something you might want to think about. And Eddie was like, he didn't threaten my family, but he threatened my family. And if I told anybody what was going on, they would think I was out of my mind because Alex was an upstanding citizen. That tracks. Is is Cousin Eddie a reliable narrator? I'm gonna go with no. But that part about Alex being like, "Oh, I got you over a barrel, boo boo. What you think you doing?" And Cousin Eddie being like, right. Let me just go and keep collecting my little $200 and keep it moving. And hopefully I don't get unalived in the process. He's like, I wanted to get out. Cousin Eddie, something about you tells me you weren't trying that hard to get out. But what do I know? Maybe you're a totally decent, upstanding human being. I don't know. At the end of the day, at the end of the doc, the Netflix documentarians were saying to Cousin Eddie, do you think Alex did this? And Cousin Eddie, I think he did because he said he did it. He told me he did it. He told me it got all left up. Cut to Blanca. Blanca, do you think that Alex did this? Do you think anybody helped him? Blanca, who lived in the house, who knows where the bodies are buried, who knows all kinds of everything, was like, I'm not comfortable having this conversation. Really? What makes you uncomfortable about it? What is it that you're afraid to say? Can you whisper it to me, just in my ear? Can you write it on a piece of paper? She's like, no comment. People are like, do you think he was drug smuggling? Everybody is just like, no, you gonna leave me out of this. They were also saying to Blanca and Eddie and others, do you think this was a hit? Was the cartel involved? And everybody was like, I don't know. This is what Kenny Kinsey said, the famous doctor from the Murdaugh trial. Kenny Kinsey was like, look, I have done all kinds of trials. I have done motorcycle gangs, unalivings, when you unalive yourself because you can't say the S word here on the nice YouTubes. I've done all kinds of crime scenes. I've never seen one this messy and this chaotic. This was done by an amateur. And I was like, right. Because something tells me if the cartel did it, they were not going to just wait to see, hope they find a gun there. Like, okay, we going to see what's what. Mr. Alec Murdaugh. In my opinion, if he gets another trial, which I don't think he will, I think he will be found guilty again. But here's the thing. When they asked Cousin Eddie, did you unalive Maggie and Paul? He shook his head no, and he said, looked dead in the camera, never broke eye contact, and said, nope. They said, do you know who did? He said, nope. What I wanted them to ask him is, did you clean up the aftermath? Now listen, that's an answer that we all needed to hear. Like, did you throw away some guns when he was threatening your child when you was out there running them errands? Like, what was the situation with that? I need to know everything. But somehow Netflix forgot to ask that question. Okay, Netflix, I see y'all. Or it's on the cutting room floor. Can we take a look at that little cutting room floor footage? Because I need to know something about that. I'm like, okay. Here's the thing, though. That kennel video, the video that Paul filmed for Rogan Gibson, the video that broke the case wide open. Listen, that video is the reason that Alex Murdaugh got convicted. If you ask me, not that anybody did, but if you ask me, that video was the key piece of evidence. If you go back and watch the trial footage of the moment that video was played, Rogan Gibson is on the stand. They play the video. Roro is sitting up there and they say, who do you hear on this video? And he says, I hear Paul. I hear my dog Cash. I hear Miss Maggie. And I hear Mr. Ellick. If you look at the video, watch it in slow motion, look at the look on Alex Murdaugh's face. His whole face says, OF. I am done for. My goose is good and thoroughly cooked. I believe, personally, he knew in that moment he was going down. But we don't find that out until later. Listen, tune in tomorrow for our final episode of Lunchtime True Crime, the Murdaugh Week, and find out my observations of the trial. I will see you then. Bye-bye.